The third element of delivery that we want to look at in this class is nonverbal delivery. Like I said, nonverbals usually include the tone and rate of your voice, but in this class we're going to look at everything other than your voice that would be nonverbals. So let's start with your physical appearance. Believe it or not, before you ever say a word, we have judged you. Most of you are of a younger generation than I am. And many of you may or may not. Where's Rebecca? I heard Rebecca this morning say that she was going back to bed after class. It's a little early. I totally appreciate that. And you dress in a way, if that's your plan for the day, to do that. But Lindsay sitting next to her is in a really cute little sundress thing. And I'm guessing she's not planning on going back to bed after class. I judged them without even knowing. Lindsay has plans for the day, Rebecca doesn't. Oh. Now you begin to see how those judgments may make me think other things about them. And the truth is, every one of you does it to every person you meet. You've decided whether or not I take your class seriously by the way I dress and the time I arrive. Okay, time I arrive has nothing to do with physical appearance, but you do decide that. Physical appearance means if I come in here in sweatpants and a t-shirt, do you feel like I take your class seriously? No. It's okay, Rebecca, you're a student.
Have you been to Rosamond's class?
But if I come in dressed professionally, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, maybe she does take this job seriously. And you know nothing about me. Maybe I really don't, I just like clothes. So the truth is, your physical appearance matters. There are some things that some of you may enjoy knowing more than others. For example, those of you that wear glasses, the simple act of wearing glasses makes you appear to others as more trustworthy. We also attribute intelligence to people that wear glasses. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I got glasses when I was about 12 years old. Had nothing to do with my intelligence level, had to do with the fact that I couldn't see. But yet, when I wear my glasses, people assume I'm more intelligent. And when I worked in a sales field, I made more sales on the days that I wore my glasses. Why? Because people thought they could trust me.
So you should wear fake glasses first.
Well, here's the truth. You shouldn't necessarily wear fake glasses for your speech, but did you know that
I sure did.
Drew Carey does not really need glasses, but he wears them? Did you know that if you ever go to an optometry shop to buy glasses, everyone in there has glasses on? Do you think they chose to work in optometry because they needed glasses? Every time I ever go into one, I ask, are those fake or do you really need glasses? Only one time has someone told me they needed them. But how do I sell you something I don't use? You believe me more because physical appearance, and has nothing to do with anything except how they look. That's crazy. So yes, dress is important. I know you guys were asking, are you going to be graded on that? That is one of the categories on your grade sheet. You will be graded on it. I am not going to be super fussy about you being really professional, but I do want you to look slightly nicer than your classmates, which is the no jeans, no shorts, no flip-flops. Prefer not to have sandals. With girls, you do kind of want something on your arms rather than just a sleeveless dress. If you have a cute sundress and you want to put a cardigan over it, that's cool. For guys, you want at least business casual. You don't necessarily have to have a business suit or a tie, but something a little nicer than jeans and maybe a golf shirt, something like that. Does that make sense? Eye contact. This is by far one of the most important things you can do to make your audience believe you. Does anybody's parents ever tell them, look at me and say that again? Why do you think your parents did that?
To see if you're lying?
To see if you're lying. Here's the truth. Most really good liars can look you directly in the eye and lie to you.
I sure can.
But here's the other part of that truth. Most of us believe if you're making direct eye contact with me, you're not lying. And we operate from that belief. Which is why, as a parent, even though I know all I'm doing is teaching my kids to be really good liars by making them look at me and tell me again, the truth is, it's important. It's important that you be able to look people directly in the eye and have a conversation. And so eye contact in public speaking becomes really important. Because if you never look up from your paper when you're talking to me, I cannot believe you. Does it make sense? I get it. Logically, it's not there. But our minds don't operate purely from logic. Most of us make decisions and determinations about people and things without relying heavily on logic. So the truth is, as a good speaker, you're going to use those elements to your advantage. And one of those things you can do is make direct eye contact. Some of you may have noticed that the way I make eye contact is not by scanning the room, which is what a lot of speakers, when they start to try to make eye contact, do. But what this ends up doing is telling me that you're not really looking at anyone. What I actually do is I stop and I look directly at Arthur as if I'm only talking to Arthur. And then I move up to Angela. And then I move up to Tamira. And then I go back and I see Hannah. Why do I do that?
To include everybody?
Yeah, because if I'm looking directly at you, it's as if I'm having a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you, and then you, and then you. But if I scan and I try to make contact with everybody, you really feel like I'm just glossing over you. I'm not really talking to Sean. Does that make sense? So that's what you want to aim for. That is a skill that's often learned in public speaking. So my point to you is excellent is 90% making direct eye contact with me. But that doesn't mean that you can't do good with less than that. Facial expressions. This is one of my favorite things when public speaking class first starts, because people get nervous and they get up here and they want to talk about like the happiest moment in their life. And instead of talking about the happiest moment in their life, they talk about the happiest moment in their life as if it is the most dull thing they've ever done. So the happiest moment in my life was when I learned to surf with my dad. And it was really cool because we were out on the ocean and he pushed the surfboard and I popped up and I got to ride that wave. And does anybody feel excited?
Great.
No! You don't feel excited and happy. You're like, what is wrong with her? She has no emotion. But the same thing can happen when you talk about a very somber event. One of my favorite examples of this was several years ago. There was a man that was killed in Virginia Beach by a bus. He was hit by a bus in Virginia Beach. And one of the news crews went to interview the pastor of his church. And the pastor of his church, during the interview, said, "It's really sad when we lose someone like this. He was the father of 2, and we're praying for his wife and children, and we just hope that they're going to be okay." And I thought, dude, you are creepy or you're into the wife. I don't know which one it is. But
He killed him.
Because why is he so happy this guy is dead but talking about how we're going to mourn him? Because your face does not show that. As human beings, we want your face to match your feelings. And if it doesn't, we don't believe your feelings. As a matter of fact, communication experts tell us that almost 93% of your communication has nothing to do with the words that you say, but with your nonverbals, including rate, tone, facial expressions, body movements. So when you tell me you're really happy to go surfing with your dad and it's so much fun, I really think that your dad's out there beating you in the ocean or something, because it doesn't look like you're happy. But when you tell me you're really sad this guy died, I'm thinking, no, you're not. What is wrong with you? So I do want to show you really quickly a little clip. Again, maybe.
There is only one person who was in the house the night JonBenet Ramsey was murdered that we have never heard from, her brother Burke. Dr. Phil scored the exclusive interview with a now grown-up Burke Ramsey.
The first thing I remember is my mom bursting in my room, really frantic, saying like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh," running around my room looking for JonBenét.
Burke Ramsey was only 9 years old when his sister JonBenét was murdered nearly 20 years ago. And in all the years since, he's never spoken about it in public until now.
And the next thing I remember is a police officer coming to my room and shining a flashlight.
How in the world did you convince Burke, JonBenét's brother, to do this interview?
Well, you know, it's the 20-year anniversary. His thinking was, if that's going to happen, I want to control the narrative.
We'd go to the supermarket sometimes and there'd be a tabloid, JonBenét's picture plastered on the front. It just made me a very private person.
Long considered suspects, but ultimately cleared in the murder were Burke's dad, John, and his now deceased mother, Patsy.
I love that child.
Even Burke was once a suspect.
I've heard rumors where we were hiding Burke because he was this crazy kid.
There are times when he's talking about very heavy, dark content, and yet he's smiling. Did you go to JonBenét's funeral?
Yeah, I remember the viewing. I remember the casket was small and her eyes were closed.
Did he ever understand that people on the outside were looking at him and saying, "You are a suspect"?
As he got older, he became aware that he was a suspect. I asked him straight up, did you murder JonBenét, your sister?
Oh, you knew Dr. Phil was not going to mince words.
How do we feel?
He killed her.
Guilty?
Oh, he killed her, honey. He killed her and cooked her and everything.
I can't think a 9-year-old killed his sister.
It happens all the time.
What a lot of us don't know, and what the whole Dr. Phil sensationalism does not portray, is that the young man actually had a lot of social disorders. Part of that was based on the fact that he was 9 when his 6-year-old sister died. Part of it was based on the fact the way his parents decided to shelter him. And part of it was that he had some genetic disorders anyway. But Dr. Phil doesn't ever talk about that. The other part of it is there are people that when they get nervous, just smile. I happen to know that I'm one of those people, so it's very rare that I talk about really somber subjects, especially like on the first day of class when I'm the most nervous. I'm not going to talk about something really sad because I know like I'm going to laugh through it and you're all going to leave going, oh my God, there's something wrong with that chick. So instead, I try to talk about things that match my personality. And with him, he's been asked to talk about his sister's death, and he doesn't really have a choice. You may or may not have noticed that the whole time he was talking, he was also doing this, which is another sign of nervousness. But most of us don't ever go past the fact that he's smiling while he's talking about viewing his sister's dead body. And that's creepy. So your facial expressions matter. Your audience is making determinations based on your facial expressions. We also make determinations based on your posture. Most of us do not have really good posture, and at this point in the lecture, I look around the room and see how many of you have really bad posture. Here's the truth. Good posture means that you're using these core muscles in your stomach to hold you up and not your back. It also means that you're not slouching down or leaning over. And at this point in the semester, most students are more like this. Why?
Because we're
you're all
over